Have you ever sent a text that you wish you could take back? Listen, you're allowed to be angry. Everybody gets angry sometimes. But the thing is, your anger is an indicator of how your relationships will be, how your presence will be, and how your power is going to be as you step through this world. Negative emotions are a part of life. We can't run from them. We shouldn't run from them. They're actually really important because emotions are the indicator of our internal world. They're telling us what's happening. They're not telling us what God is saying. They're telling us what's happening to us in our inner world. So we can't run from these negative emotions. But what's really pivotal in those moments where you're feeling super angry is your ability to accept other people just as they are. That is what's going to make the biggest difference in those moments that you're going from 0 to 100. So let's say you're in a really unfavorable situation. For example, you and your spouse get into an argument. You're really annoyed because you asked your husband to take out the trash a week ago and it still hasn't been taken out. And he's really annoyed because you keep nagging him. Let's just use that as an example. Now, you might say something that you don't mean. Your first instinct, if it's like that fourth day, it's starting to get smelly, it's starting to get real rough in there, you're worried there's maggots forming under the sink, you see flies. Maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but I'm trying to paint a picture here. You're just so annoyed that he's at work, you're at home, and you blow up and you send a text. What do they call those? Like thumb warriors? Like you just send a crazy text and you're just like, you lay in on him, how lazy he is, how unsupportive he is. And then all the other problems that you've had with him just come out in this text. Or maybe he's right in front of you and he's not doing it and you snap at him. Or maybe you give him the silent treatment and you totally ghost him. And then you're going to regret that. Because typically that's how that works. When we are emotionally reactive, and when I say emotionally reactive, I mean those who go from 0 to 100 real quick, either on the side where you get very angry or on the side where you totally cower and you present yourself as if you're meaningless and worthless. But when we overreact, we tend to regret what happens. When we regret something, we get into those emotions of guilt and shame. And those are the lowest emotions possible on the totem pole of emotional mastery. You never want to get stuck in guilt or shame. It is very hard to get out of, but not impossible. Because when we get stuck in guilt or shame, that then totally leads the rest of our day, right? If we're feeling guilty about something, that tends to affect the foods we eat for the rest of the day, the thoughts we think, how we treat ourselves, how we treat other people. So it's possible to not get stuck in that negative loop. And listen, everybody gets angry. Even Jesus was angry, okay? He went into that temple, saw that the tax collectors were collecting taxes in a holy place where you're supposed to be going there in silence and revering God. And he was so angry that he flipped a table. But he was rooted in constraint. Jesus's anger was rooted in a greater message. And sometimes you gotta shock and awe them for them to get it. But when you have that strength, that self-control, and when you know that your actions are rooted in Christ consciousness, that makes all the difference. And listen, I think many of us weren't taught how to be angry in a healthy way. It is possible to be angry in a healthy way. I just don't think many of us were taught that way because maybe we had parents that were really overreactive. And if you did something wrong, if you were disrespectful, if you said something wrong, you got a slap on the face, you got screamed at, or maybe you had a parent who was the opposite and became despondent and underreactive and gave you the silent treatment and made you feel like you didn't even exist. So you might have had a parent who exploded or imploded, or maybe you had one that exploded and one that imploded, or maybe you had two parents who did both. That's not fun. So maybe we weren't taught how to be angry in a healthy way, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible. As I said, anger is normal. Negative emotions, they're going to happen no matter what. But there's always a healthier side to doing this. And again, the point of having anger and being angry in a healthy way, this is going to help us have better relationships. This is going to help us have that powerful presence when we show up into a room that demands and commands respect. Because we are demanding and commanding that respect within ourselves. Because we are walking as if we are meant to be there, not bulldozing, screaming, or cowering. Nobody wants to be around that person. You don't want to be around that person. So how can we be, what does anger in a healthy way look like? The first thing I would say is seeing other people's perspective. For example, we'll go back to the example of you and your husband or you and your significant other, and you're talking and you're fighting about the trash, and you're so mad at him, but you're only looking at it from your perspective. I asked him to do this. He's not doing it so he doesn't respect me. He's not doing it because he doesn't love me. He's not doing it because he doesn't think it's important. Well, I don't know, girl. Maybe he's not doing it because he's feeling depressed. Work has been really tough. He's providing for this family. He has so much stress on him. Maybe he wants to just come home and kick his feet up. And I want you to remove yourself from the equation, because maybe you're like, well, I work too, and I got to do all these things, and I take care of the kids, and I take care of the dog, and I take care of myself, and he can't. Everybody handles things differently. And do you think you coming at him, nagging him, yelling at him, being upset with him is going to want, especially when he's already not feeling good, when the world is pummeling down on him, and he's going to come home and then receive that at home, you think that's going to do anything? No, we got to try to see the other person's perspective and side, because you would want him to do that for you, and we can't assume. It's important as well. Healthy anger looks like taking accountability. We can use that anger, we can use it as fuel to get us to a place of taking accountability, taking responsibility. It's really important to understand that it's not about you. It's not just you. It's not just the other person. You played a role in that just as much as they did. We also want to look for the good in the situation. Where are the good points? As it says in, I believe, the book of James, we are to focus on all things that are good and holy and pure. That is where the magic is. That is where the transformation is. When you can take a negative situation and flip it into something that is good. So what are some good things? Like, you're looking at your significant other and he's just not taking out the trash, and you are ready to go from 0 to 100. I want you to think about what's good in this situation. We have a house where there's trash in it. We have the funds and the money to pay for a house that has trash in it. What else is in this house? Wow, running water, Wi-Fi, my beautiful dog, things of that nature. There is always going to be something that is good about the situation. It is up to you to look for it. So healthy anger often looks like reframing, acknowledging what you're going through, seeing the other person's side, and reframing. And this is very possible. This is just a habit. You are stuck in a habit of overreacting for a really long time. So that's why it's your default mechanism. It's your default escape. But we understand that unhealthy anger can cost you relationships, can cost you time, can cost you self-respect. I want you to think back to the last time that you showed anger in an unhealthy way. And what was the outcome? Probably not great. So I want us to change that. Here's an action you can take. When you're feeling angry and you feel like you are about to send that text that just might ruin everything, I want you to shake it off. You ever notice how a dog will get up from laying down for a while, or if they're feeling anxious, they'll shake, they'll do a tick, 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 because they're allowing their emotions to move through their body. They're not letting it stay stuck in one place. When we feel stuck, that's when we start to get anxious. And when our anxiety comes, we just act how our habits have predicted in the past. So we overreact, we underreact, or we're even keeled. So I want you to literally give yourself a shake. Shake it off, shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. And especially if you're doing this like in front of your partner, like they might be really annoyed with you, but it might be an icebreaker. Like they might laugh, you might laugh, and you might be able to come back to the present moment and get out of your head. And then you can reframe. This is an invitation to set a healthy boundary. As it says in Ephesians 4:26, don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you're still angry. You can be powerful and emotional. It's all about understanding how to be healthy in anger. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel because we've got so much more coming down the pike. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. I would love to know, have you tried the Shake It Off method? And if you try it, please let me know in the comments how it goes. All right, you beautiful flower, get out into that world and be the emotionally controlled queen that God has put you on this earth to be. And until next we meet, be blessed.